Hi, welcome to the TurtleBurger podcast YouTube channel. My name is Brittany. This is a channel all about crochet and knitting and all of the fun accessories that come along with it. Today's video is episode 32. Thank you so much for joining me. If you are a Ravelry user, I do have a Ravelry podcast group currently beginning January 1st, 2023 through the end of the year. There is a sock stash along, which any socks that you make with any yarn, any pattern, any size is eligible to be submitted. I will have everything linked down below. There is also a new make along which will be occurring. That is co-hosted with Carla from the Carla Knits podcast. We are doing a make along for the Love Note pattern by Tincanknits. It is February 14th through April 14th, 2023. We each will have one thread in our Ravelry groups, just a general chatter and a general FO thread. So it's all in one. And we each will be giving one pattern prize winner for each of our groups. So we hope you will join us. That is very exciting. And I believe that's all for the announcements. Now, this video will be kind of an all-in-one. So I'll do my regular podcast with all my finished objects, works in progress and everything. And then at the end, I will also do a roundup of all of my January 2023 projects that were from previous podcast episodes. So let's go ahead and get right into it. First off, what I'm wearing, so you can't really tell, and you can't see my socks, but I am wearing my Wish You Were Here socks by the Kitchen Sink shop. I will put a picture of those up from when I finish those. And then also I was gifted this amazingly beautiful shawl. I received it in the mail yesterday and it is just so stunning. Let me see if I can show it a little bit here. It is the Knit Night shawl pattern. I do not remember who it is by, but look at this detail. Absolutely stunning, and I am so grateful. We got it in the mail as we were going to run errands, and I opened it immediately and it immediately went around my neck, and I wore it all day when we were doing errands yesterday. So that was really exciting, and I just really like it. It's very pretty. So thank you. I appreciate it. You know who you are. Very grateful for your friendship. Okay, let's get into the episode. I have 2 finished objects, and I think 1, 2, 3. Wait, 1, 2, 3. I don't know how many whips. Apparently, I can't count to 5. Oh, because this goes over here. That's what's confusing me. Okay, the first finished object that I have is a dishcloth. This is the, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it right, but Speculaas dishcloth by the Kitchen Sink shop. If you have been here before, you have heard me talk about them probably just about every month. But the Kitchen Sink shop is, her name is Garlene. She's a knitwear designer. She's also the one that made my Wish You Were Here socks that I mentioned earlier. And every year she does a free email dishcloth pattern club. So I will link her information down below. The first of every month, or right around there, she sends you a free dishcloth pattern, and it's just super fun to make and try to get all 12 made. The first year I think I did 1 or 2. Last year I did 9, and this year my goal is 10. It'd be great to get all 12, but I'm going for 10. So this particular year, 2023, all of her designs are based on like her favorite desserts, cookies, things like that. So apparently, I think it's Dutch, maybe she said, a Dutch cookie or something. But they look like, to me, they looked like little, like Nutcracker toys from Christmas. I don't know if that's what they're supposed to be, but that's what they reminded me of. Anyway, so here is the dishcloth. It is not blocked, so I'm not sure it's supposed to be kind of, the texture is super great, but I don't know if it's supposed to be kind of 3D like. So anyway, here it is. The yarn I'm using for that, or did use for that, was this Never Ending Cone of Peaches and Cream in the color Sea Breeze, I believe. Sea Breeze, Sea Mist, something like that. And I used a US size 6.4mm because that yarn is a little more difficult to work with. So that is my first finished object. My second finished object I'm so excited for. These are my Marie Schrader socks by Michaeli Marler of Breaking Yarn. You can't really see. Let me try. I'm only using one sock blocker because I need my other ones. But let me show you this chevron texture here. I like it so much. It took me until the second sock, the second pattern on the second sock to figure out what I was doing and not have to look at the pattern for each and every chevron. Okay, so let's go over these details. From the top, the yarn I used, oops, I got a tangled mess here, but the yarn I used, it took about 49 grams for her small size, which was the 60 stitch cast on. The yarn I used is Monarch yarn on Etsy in the color Violet. I worked these Magic Loop on my US size 1 2.25mm Chalgu 40-inch cables. Let's see what else. Okay, so as I mentioned, I did the 60 stitch cast on, just a 2x2 rib. I believe I did 20 rounds. And then I did, she calls for 6 chevrons in the leg, which is what I did. And then she has a Eye of Partridge heel flap, turn and gusset. Now these, it was so funny because I got through the entire heel flap on the second sock, and then I thought, wait a minute, that doesn't look right. So if you saw my short, I did the entire second sock with the slip stitch heel flap, completely ripped that out. I was gonna leave it, but then I thought there's such different like textures a little bit, and I thought, no, that's gonna drive me crazy. I can't leave that. So I ripped the entire heel flap out, replaced it with the Eye of Partridge, and then I just worked until where I guess it would be technically the bottom of like where your little toe starts, which is where I worked to, and that gave me 18 of the chevron repeats. And then this was amazing. On this particular sock pattern, Michaeli usually does a rounded toe, which is what I prefer. But this one, she did a star toe. So you do your decreases a little differently. And I think in my short, when I was like, oh, I got to get these, or I didn't have to, but I wanted to get these done by the end of January so it would count as a January finish, I mistakenly said, oh, I think my usual toe decreases are about 17 rounds. No, this was 28 rounds. So, you know, when you're trying to put a self-imposed deadline on yourself, those 10, 11 rounds make a difference. So, but I did meet my deadline. by just a few minutes, literally. So the star toe, you do your decreases and then you finish it like the top of a hat. So instead of Kitchener'ing, you just cut your yarn and slip them onto the yarn and pull it tight, and you have a nice little finish there. I didn't think I would like it, and I wasn't going to do it, but Michaeli has not steered me wrong in the sock department. So in the 3 pairs I've made, this is my 3rd pair of hers. So, and I really, really like it, and I will be doing that again for sure. Let's see, is there anything else to say about this? I don't think so. I really enjoyed this pattern. I really enjoyed this yarn. And yeah, I would really like to make this pattern again sometime, and definitely recommend you checking that pattern out. Again, as I've mentioned before, everything I talk about is linked below, or will be by the time this is uploaded. So let's get into some works in progress. Let's see, let me move all this stuff out of the way here. Okay, sorry, I had to pull it closer to me. I'll just start grabbing stuff. Okay, my first work in progress is just a garter stitch baby blanket. It is by Lion Brand. It's just garter stitch is all it is. It's like a huge dishcloth. I forgot to mark where I was last time. It was somewhere down here. I only worked an hour and a half on this, which was actually today. So since the last time I podcasted, I'm actually timing myself with this one because this is intended to go into my Etsy shop, which I'm going to talk about kind of later in that section. But this will be one of the 2 blankets to go in there. And all this is signifying is that at this point, I have 70 stitches on the needles. And it's basically just a really large dishcloth. The yarn I'm using is Bernat Baby Soft. This is the color Tiny Tulips. And I am using, what is this? US size 7, maybe 4.5 millimeter. They don't say, but I know they do. Yeah, US size 7, 4.5 millimeter needle on that. And my next work in progress is February's dishcloth of the month by the Kitchen Sink Shop. So I don't have very much, but enough. This is called the Linzer cookie dishcloth. And when it gets a little bit higher up, there's just a single heart in the middle of this short row section. It was very pretty, very appropriate for February. The yarn I'm using is Mainstays from Walmart, 100% cotton, and it is in the color Soft Silver. I am using DPNs. These are a US size 5, 3.75 millimeter. This is a very soft yarn, so really I don't need to go up to the 4 millimeter like I do with like Peaches and Cream. It's not as rough. This is a really nice cotton yarn to work with. So again, that's the Linzer cookie dishcloth. And then I also worked on my husband's 2 at a time vanilla socks. Let's see if I can get them straight here. I'm actually really liking the 2 at a time right now. Currently, for him, I did a 72 stitch cast on, and I believe I did 15 or 20 rounds. I can't remember. 15 or 20 round 2x2 cuff. And right now I only have 30 rounds of the stockinette stitch. I'm gonna go to about 6 inches on his socks or for the leg and see how that looks on him. Have him try it on and see if they're comfortable for him. Let's see. Okay. What am I doing here? The yarn. If I can find the labels. Sorry. So, whoops. The yarn is Huntington Valley yarns in the color blue. I am obviously doing magic loop. This is US size 1, 2.25 millimeter on a 40-inch cable. I'm actually really liking the 2 at a time, and I just have been taking those around card knitting when we do errands and stuff, and there's really not much else to say on those. Not very much has been done. I intend to do a slip stitch heel flap for him, but I'm going to do, after the heel turn, when I go into the gusset decreases, I'm going to figure out a way to do that also in a slip stitch pattern, because that's where he tends to wear his socks. So I think that would be really good and comfortable and durable for him. So that's what I'm going to try to do. The next work in progress, I don't think this episode is going to be as long as I thought it was going to be. This is my very first Musselburgh hat by Ysolda Teague. Sorry for the lighting in here. This is a very pretty, like, eggplant purple. I am making the, I'm pretty sure it's the adult small, which hopefully fits my head. It was supposed to be for a 20-inch head, which, if I measured mine correctly, that's what it was. So I really like this, and I really liked the pinhole cast on. I know when I hear other people talk about how they're casting on, you know, different things that they're doing, and the pinhole cast on seems difficult. I really recommend, if you don't like it, to try the tutorial. I'll link it below, by Jana of Purl Together. Excellent video with magic loop style. Really enjoyed it, and I think that was why I delayed so long in making this, as I was fearful of the cast on. Really like it. The yarn I'm using for this is oops. Well, apparently it's not in my bag, but anyway, this is the Alta Truth. I don't remember, since I don't have the label, if it had a color. I think it was just a color number, but it is all in my Ravelry notes. It is a DK weight. It is 80% wool and maybe 20% baby alpaca, something like that. It's incredibly soft. Absolutely love it, and it is working as a great Musselburgh hat as well. Really, really like that. Oh, and the needle size I'm using is a US size 5 3.75 millimeter needle. I'm gonna have to look for that label. That's gonna drive me crazy, because I keep all my labels until there is no more yarn left. Okay, let's see. And my last work in progress, this is what I've been the most excited about this week. This is, let me get it right here. Probably not going to look like much right now, but get it a little straightened out here. This is Little Lady's Love Note. I'm very excited. Look how pretty that is. This will hopefully be her Easter shirt she can wear for Easter. I'm very excited. These are very beautiful colors. Again, as I mentioned before, Love Note is by a Tin Can Knit. It is a cropped pullover. I am doing the full body length though. I am making the size 2 to 4 years old. I am using the recommended needle sizes, which starts out on a US size 10 6mm needle. And if you were with me on my last fiasco from my love note, my original one, this is going so much better. I think I just made it overly difficult, and I've had no problems with this one, and I'm just so thrilled about it. As you can tell, I've already separated the sleeves. I am now just into the body in the midst of stockinette, which is fine by me because I really like it. Now, the original pattern calls for DK weight with these needle sizes. I am actually using, here it is. This is Yarn Bee Soft Secret Ombre in the color Whisper. Technically, this is a size 4 medium worsted weight yarn. Excuse me. However, it is a very thin worsted weight. It is very similar even in feel to like maybe Karen Simply Soft. And so I met gauge with that. I have not tried it on her yet, but also with this being a 2 to 4 year old size, I think there's a lot of give because she's not the size of a 4-year-old. So I think it should be perfectly fine. Very excited for this. I think she will just be so cute. And you can't tell yet, but it does have the lace section there. And it's actually amazingly soft too. And also totally random, but if you have little kids, and even if you don't, this would be a great use for these. I was not able to find, with the exception of one, which is this red one, any stitch markers that will fit a 6mm needle. I don't know why. I guess I don't have any, but I don't need them now because little lady has all these little ponytail holders, and they just went right on, and they're all in different colors. And I kept the red one to know where my beginning of round is. And I did do, let's see what else. I did do the provisional cast on, but apparently I chose a really poor color because it matches kind of with the theme of this yarn. But I did do the provisional cast on. I did the crochet provisional cast on. So when it's time, I'll just come back and pick these stitches up. I said the crochet provisional cast on, but you do it with a crochet hook over your needles. And that wasn't as bad as I made it out to be as before either. I have the sleeves on these barber cords. I'm just so pleased with this already. And maybe it's because it's child size, but it's working out really quickly. I'm hoping to be done so that on February 14th, I can start my love note. And I will be, I actually have 2 in mind. Obviously, only one is going to get made during then. I have wanted a black love note for a while, but I'm not going to wear black on Easter. I just can't make myself do it. So I bought more yarn than what I ended up needing for my original love note, the teal one, if you were here during that. And so I'm going to be completely redoing that and frogging the original if needed, because it's already half undone anyway. So that's exciting. I can't wait to do that and be able to wear that. Hopefully mine will be ready for Easter too. So I'm excited for that. And those are all of my finished objects and my works in progress. Now, like I said, this is also going to be, instead of doing, like, during most of last year, it kind of fell off the wagon there, but I was doing monthly roundups of all of my projects that I finished in a month. And I decided this year I'm just going to add them into the first podcast that I do of each month. So obviously all those two, the socks and the dishcloth, were finished in January, but I thought I'd also show you or remind you the other projects that I made in January. Now this one, I mentioned it, but you didn't get to see because I couldn't find it at the time, which is actually a really funny story. So this is Little Lady's classic Watchman's cap. The pattern is called Hill 60, and it is by Galt House of Yarn. And the yarn I used is Knit Picks Brava in the color Canary. I do not remember the size needles. It's whatever was called for in the pattern. I did the baby size, which I shouldn't have done. I should have done the child size. I just didn't know the difference in sizes, I guess. But next time I will do a bigger one for her, but it does fit her after blocking, and she wears it all the time, and it's so precious on her. So funny story with this one. So like I said, in January you didn't get to see it, but because we couldn't find it, and she knew exactly right where it was. She kept asking where it was, but we didn't know she was wanting us to tell, to try to find it. We thought she lost it. And we have a red bag of like Play-Doh and cards and different things that we keep in a closet. And I said, I'm going to go check in there. And she was like, yeah. And that's where it was. She knew it all along, which doesn't surprise us, because we were more surprised that we thought she didn't know where it is, because she's very good about keeping up with her stuff. So that is her classic Watchman's cap, Hill 60 by Galt House of Yarn, and she wanted a hat just like Daddy's, and now she has it, and they wear theirs all the time together, and it's just so precious. I love it. The other finished item I had in January was the candy cane socks by Amanda Clark of Shutter Monkey Designs. I'm sorry, I don't remember too many details on this. I know it is Knit Picks Muse fingering weight yarn that I dyed myself. So I used Hawaiian Punch. There is no color. It was supposed to be red, and it is coming a little more red in this light, but it has like an orangey red color, or red orange, whatever. For this one I did a 56 stitch cast on, which was an adjustment from the pattern, US size 1, 2.25 millimeter. I only did 3 candy cane repeats as opposed to 4, which I totally could have done 4. If I'm not mistaken, I was trying to get them done for Christmas, but that didn't happen. It has a slip stitch heel flap, and then my foot length was 51 rounds. I think next time I will do 50 rounds, because for some reason when I've been wearing these a lot, they're coming out a little too stretchy. They fit when I put them on, and then they stretch out. None of my other socks have been doing that, which is why I mention it. And then it just has a typical rounded toe. And the last finished object I had in January was my crocheted granny stitch blanket. It is baby size at 29.5 inches by 29 3/4 inches. And this will be the other blanket going into my Etsy shop. This was the Happy Baby Afghan by Lion Brand Yarn. I went down a needle or crochet hook size to a US, they don't go by that, to an H 5mm. And I have a question. If you're an Etsy shop owner, I have not listed this because I don't know, should I do single listings like as I finish things, or should I get like so many projects to list all at once? And is that why people do like shop updates? I don't know. So that's why I haven't listed this yet, because I don't know if I should just do it all at once. I'm not sure. What is your opinion? If you're an Etsy shop owner, what is your preference and what do your customers prefer? So that was all of the projects for January and going into February. And there's one last thing that I can think of, and this was just something really fun. So we all know the ranunculus sweater by, I think her name is Hidori Morosi or something like that. I'm not sure. I'm so excited to make it. I've been wanting to make it. And then last episode I mentioned that I was actually randomly selected for a pattern prize from Donnell of Novel Knits, and that's the pattern I chose to make. I never knew what ranunculus meant or anything, never thought anything about it. But yesterday I was looking, so little lady really loves birds, and so does my mother-in-law, and my mother-in-law must subscribe to this magazine, Birds and Blooms, because she gives little lady one. Oh man, I lost my page all the time. Excuse me. And so she has all these, and this is she just gave it to us yesterday for her, and this is the March 2023 magazine. And I was just looking through it. Little lady, she gave her two, and little lady was looking at another one and wanted me to look at this one. Anyway, they had this section called Quite the Arrangement, which it says, grow these easy care, long-lasting flowers for DIY bouquets. So I was like, cool. So I was, actually the only reason I looked at this was because I thought I recognized, there's a glare, but these were, and I was like, oh, I wonder if those are gladiolas. And they are, which was number 1. But anyway, so I thought, oh, I'll just look at the rest of them. And number 4 is a ranunculus. You can't see that, but how neat. So the ranunculus sweater must have been named after the ranunculus flower. I was like, that is so cool. And it says, I'll just read this little blurb it has on it because I just think it was so neat. It was so exciting to me. Ranunculus, also known as Persian buttercup, ranunculus flowers during the cool months of spring. I wonder like what location, like where in the world it doesn't say that. I don't think. Anyway, it blooms. Its blooms feature a wide range of colors, including apricot, yellow, orange, burgundy, white, and romantic pastels. The sturdy stems and light fragrance make it a florist favorite. Why we love it: the rose-like blooms are tightly packed with gorgeous tissue-thin petals, and they really do look like roses. So there is the ranunculus flower. We learned something. I just thought that was so neat. So now I want to look at all these bird magazines, Birds and Flowers, that little lady has been collecting and looking at, but I never look at them with her. So that is really neat. I believe that is it. If you have made it this far, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate you joining me. This didn't turn out nearly as long as I thought it would, which I'm sure you're grateful for. And yeah, so if you liked this, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up. And if you're not a subscriber, I would really love to have you join our little corner of YouTube. And if you're on Ravelry, look up our TurtleBurger podcast group. I will link everything below. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. And I hope you have a fabulous week. I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.